Today we're going to be talking about Fringilla Vigo. So Fringilla is an interesting one. She did get changed a while back, and let's see if that made her any better or not. Right now she is a Nilfgaard unit. She's a human mage. One of the only cards in the game with that mage synergy, by the way. So 4 power and 7 provisions. So her ability has to be pretty strong for her to be worth this kind of power level. For her stats, I mean. And as far as her effect, it's simply deploy damage any unit by 2, increase the number of targets by 1 for each adjacent mage or construct. So suppose you have 2 mages or constructs next to her, new player. She does damage 2 damage to 3 targets. That's 6. She plays this for 10 for 7. And that's pretty much all she does. So there's a couple things here. The first one is this power level in line with what we expect from a gold card like her? And I think the answer is pretty much no, right? Like, we'd want a little bit more here. If we take a look at the other cards in Nilfgaard at 7 provisions, we've got Prophet. He does that lock. He plays for 6. You've got Milton, which has quite a bit of strong synergies. You've got Albric, who obviously has a very high ceiling. You've got Asira. She's pretty good. So her power level is not amazing. And the other thing is, for something where you have to play 2 mages next to her, that's not too hard. Because if we look at Nilfgaard and search for mages, if we look at what we've got, you do have the easy way to do this is your Blightmaker, and he's a mage, and he gives you the Guardian, which is a construct. So you get a mage construct, and then you also have mage assassin, right? So if you go your Blightmaker on mage assassin, it'll spawn a construct, the Guardian on some row, and then since you move this guy to the top, he comes out and does his 2 damage, right? We all know this combo, but since you're getting 3 cards, all of which trigger Fringilla to your rows, you're guaranteed to have 2 of them go to the same row. And if you play your Blightmaker on the right end of the row, you're guaranteed that at least 2 of them will be next to each other. Which means it's a pretty convenient setup for Fringilla. The other cards that are mages to set up are not amazing. Illusionist is pretty good, but they might kill him to stop the bonded and stuff like that. And you can play things like Mage Torturer. But really, if you're looking for a setup card, Artorias Vigo, since he makes a copy, he can even make a copy of Blightmaker. Artorias Vigo, potentially Brothans, if he makes a Disloyal, you can get a copy, but that's not as good. But really, the best setups are Artorias Vigo and your Blightmaker. So it's not too hard to set up the mage condition. But if you can set it up, is it even worth playing her, is the question. And the answer is pretty much no. And I think one of the problems with her ability really comes in the upside for her ability. There are other cards like this where you get something, and then for each additional, you get more effects, like Stefan Skellen, for example. You look at Stefan. Where is Stefan? So yeah, he plays an ace up your sleeve for each 3 tactics in your starting deck, right? So you get an extra benefit for each one. Stuff like that can have really good upsides. Her upside's capped at 2 units. So the most you can do is 2 extra targets. Now, 10 for 7 value with damage is actually pretty good. The problem is the distribution of the damage, right? Because they need to be playing wide, which is not that common. If they are playing wide, there's a good chance at least one of the guys is going to have armor. Unless they're spawning tokens. You're not going to get full value there. So you have to have 3 units, which isn't great. And if you're just doing 2 damage to some cards, right, and that this is going to be useful where you hit 3 things for 2 damage, I'm going to argue that if that's good, you probably could just run a Lacerate. Since if they've got 3, it might be worth just waiting till they have 5 to get that row effect if you're trying to use it to punish 3 guys. The only other way that it's really useful for Fringilla is if you exactly need those, if you're playing for value, right? Because if your Lacerate's only going to hit 3 or 4 guys, then your Fringilla is better because she has that 4 base power and you're getting 6 damage and her 4 base power. If there's 5 units, Lacerate hits them all. In that case, it's probably better playing the Lacerate in that situation because they're having a wide board and you might get more. And they might play something that relies on them, like a Dwarf deck or something, or Firesworn. She's kind of a middle of the road, right? You don't get the damage on one target, and you also don't get the full row damage. So it might be like a flex card you could play. The problem is I don't think her value is quite there. And I think there actually is a way to fix this. So it's going to be a relatively short analysis because her video's not, or her ability is not super complex. I think she might actually see play, or I think she actually would see play, if instead of this deploy damage enemy unit by 2, she had a Zeal order where this was charges. Maybe they want to do that because it's Nilfgaard, but Nilfgaard already has charges. You have Hefty Helga, and you have Fire Scorpion. They used to have charges on a couple other cards too. Actually, I think they do. Where is this one? Yeah, this one's got Zeal order. This one used to have charges, but doesn't now. But I think if they just played Fringilla, I think this is a pretty easy situation. This is my recommendation, I would say, is either you make this so that damages the unit by 2 and then 2 additional for each one, which might be similar to what she originally was, but I think that way you can have a targeted control card. It would be good for like Renfree decks and stuff that don't play units, but I think it'd be more fair to her. Or you can give her the order and charges, and then she could spread the damage out better. I would say that's probably the best way to do it, instead of just increasing the cap like for each mage you control or something, because then you get out of hand. But I think the best way to fix her is just to let her have charges, or to make the damage hit something so she'd be good in a no unit type, not no unit, like a no special type deck. Yeah, so that's what I think about Fringilla. I think she's very interesting. I just think this type of middle of the road between wide damage and like value card isn't super great. She does have decent value 10 for 7 if you have the 2 mages, but I feel like she has to have some kind of place in the deck other than just a value card, because if we're talking about 10 for 7, I haven't talked about this yet because I was waiting to the end, but there is a card that's 10 for 6 with a condition that is better and a bronze, and you can make copies of it. It is Nausicaa Sergeant. She has nowhere near the value you'd get from a Nausicaa Sergeant. The Nausicaa Sergeant, you're going to have lost around at some point, so you're going to guarantee you have this in round 2 or 3. And it's guaranteed to play for 10. It has 2 armor. You can make copies of it, all kinds of stuff. Whereas she is just like a 10 for 7, which isn't as good. It has to have condition in them having 3 units. They have to not have armor. So I think that as a value card, she just falls short. So either make her, I think the best way is to make her some kind of removal card, or she gets more benefits, probably from charges from having those mages. But that's what I think about Fringilla. What do you guys think? Would you like to see her completely changed? Yeah, just let me know, and we'll see you in the next one. That'll be it for this one, guys. Hope you enjoyed. We'll see you next time. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more. And you can check out some more videos over here. And thanks for watching.